Pay attention to the surveillance camera pointed at this bus stop on a quiet Friday afternoon in June. A young woman stands alone on the corner, waiting. A black car passes her, then circles back. It stops right beside her. She leans toward the window, speaks to the driver for about a minute, and gets in. The car pulls away, heading north, and disappears from the frame. This is the last time anyone sees Yingying Zhang alive. What makes this footage so chilling is not just what it captured, it's what happened earlier that same morning. Hours before this moment, the same car, the same driver, had stopped beside another young woman on the same campus and asked her to get in. She said no. Yingying Zhang grew up in Nanping, a small city tucked into the mountains of Fujian province in southeastern China. Her family was not wealthy. Her father, Reng Gao, worked long hours to give his children every opportunity he never had. And Yingying made the most of it. She graduated at the top of her class from Sun Yat-sen University, then earned a master's degree from Peking University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the country. She formed a band in college and sang lead vocals. She kept a journal, writing in it almost every day in careful, beautiful handwriting.
Yingying is an intelligent, beautiful, and kind person.
In her freshman year, she met a boy named Hu Xiaolin. They fell in love, studied together through graduate school, and made a plan. Yingying would spend 1 year conducting research in the United States, then return to China. They would get married in October of 2017.
Her end goal was to go back to China and teach. It was a beautiful aspiration.
In April of that year, Yingying arrived at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. She was a visiting scholar in the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Sciences, researching photosynthesis and crop productivity. She was 26 years old, quiet, focused, and deeply happy. Her journal entries from those first weeks in America were full of wonder. A young scientist discovering a new world, at peace with the life she was building.
She was always friendly, always smiling, and always willing to help.
She did not know many people on campus. She was still learning the bus routes, still figuring out the layout of the town. But she was settling in. She wanted to find a better apartment, somewhere she could have roommates, make friends, feel more at home in this new country. On the morning of June 9th, 2017, Yingying went to her lab as usual. Over the lunch hour, she walked back to her apartment in Orchard Downs on the southeast edge of campus. She ate lunch. Then she grabbed her backpack, put on her round glasses and a flannel shirt, and headed out to sign a new apartment lease. She boarded a bus at 1:35 in the afternoon, smiled at the driver as she showed her pass, and sat down. She pulled out her phone and texted the leasing agent she would arrive at approximately 2:10. It was a beautiful day, the kind of day where nothing bad is supposed to happen. But that same morning, just a few miles away, a man had already tried to lure another young woman into his car, posing as a police officer, flashing a fake badge. That woman refused, so now he was looking for someone else. Earlier that morning, a graduate student named Emily Hogan was walking toward a bus stop on Green Street. It was a warm, sunny day. She had her phone in one hand and her backpack slung over her shoulder. The campus was quiet, no one else around. Lots of cars parked along the street, but the sidewalks were empty. Then she saw a car pull up on her left, right at the curb. The driver lowered his window.
I couldn't quite hear him, so I stepped a little further closer to the car. There was a piece of grass in between the pavement and the road, and I sort of moved halfway through it, but I definitely kept my distance.
Emily kept her distance. She stayed on the strip of grass between the pavement and the road, close enough to hear, but far enough to move. The man held up what he claimed was a badge. Emily looked at it carefully. Then he asked her to get into the car so he could ask her some questions inside. Emily said no. The man looked surprised, as if he had not expected anyone to refuse. He recovered quickly, told her that if she saw anything suspicious in the area, she should give the police a call. Then he rolled up his window and drove away. Emily did not let it go. She called the non-emergency police line. Whoever answered redirected her immediately to 911. She explained what happened, Then, while sitting on the bus heading toward campus, she wrote a Facebook post warning others.
If this happens to you, to not get in a car.
That man was Brent Christensen, a 27-year-old former physics graduate student at the same university. He had been on summer break, living in a Champaign apartment with his wife. But behind the quiet exterior of a graduate student who played video games and attended classes, something far darker had been building. In the weeks before that morning, he had visited online forums dedicated to abduction fantasies. He had researched how to kidnap someone and get away with it.
He planned for a long period of time to kidnap, rape, and ultimately kill a complete stranger.
Emily Hogan's refusal did not stop him. It only redirected him. 3 hours later, Yingying Zhang stepped off her bus at 1:52 in the afternoon and tried to transfer to another line heading north toward her apartment appointment. But she was standing on the wrong side of the street. The bus approached and she tried to flag it down. It passed without stopping. The Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District had a strict policy. Drivers could not stop for pedestrians on the wrong side of the road because doing so would encourage people to run into oncoming traffic. It was a rule designed to keep people safe. That misconnection changed everything. Yingying walked a few blocks to another bus stop at the corner of North Goodwin Avenue and West Clark Street, directly in front of the university's PBS radio and television station. She stood there, alone, waiting in the afternoon sun. We can only assume that just as he did with Emily Hogan, Christensen told Yingying he was a police officer, that he was there to help her.
And she may have reacted to that inducement, and that's why she got into the car.
At 2 o'clock, a black Saturn Astra drove past her. It continued down the road, circled around the block, and came back. At 2:03, it stopped right where she was standing. Yingying walked over and spoke with the driver for approximately 1 minute. Then she opened the passenger door and got in. The car pulled away heading north and disappeared from the camera's view.
It's at this moment where all of the investigators reviewing it, this is not a missing person anymore.
At 2:38, the leasing agent sent Yingying a text message asking where she was. No reply. Her colleagues expected her back at the lab that afternoon. She never came. They had dinner plans together that evening. She never showed. They called her phone again and again throughout the evening.
And this was particularly unusual because for a young student who doesn't necessarily know a lot of people, have a large circle of friends, to just vanish during the middle of the day with no reason, it certainly indicated that maybe foul play was at work.
Every call went unanswered. At 9:24 that night, more than 7 hours after Yingying had gotten into the car, an associate professor called the University of Illinois Police Department to report her missing. Officers went to her apartment. They checked known locations where students gathered on campus. They contacted everyone they knew she had been in touch with. Nothing. By Saturday, the local Chinese student community had mobilized. Search parties spread across campus and the surrounding neighborhoods. Volunteers posted flyers, knocked on doors, checked with taxi drivers. The university police expanded their search to surveillance footage and bus cameras, even pulling emergency cell phone records to see if Yingying's phone was pinging any tower in the area. It was not. Then on Sunday night, an officer who had volunteered to work an extra shift sat down to review yet another batch of footage. This time, he found something. A camera mounted on a parking garage was pointed directly at the bus stop on Clark and Goodwin.
At where the bus stop was, Yingying was standing on that corner waiting for the bus when all of a sudden a car appeared.
The footage showed it all, the black car circling, the 1-minute conversation, Yingying getting into the passenger seat.
I watched it, you just wanted to scream out, "Don't get in. Don't get in. This is not a good idea."
And then she was gone. When a kidnapping is confirmed, local police can reach out to federal law enforcement immediately, and the FBI took over the investigation. But Yingying Zhang had already been missing for 2 full days. The man who had taken her had a 48-hour head start. He was still out there, free, anonymous, and confident that no one had seen a thing. The FBI arrived at the University of Illinois Police Department and immediately began working the only lead they had, the black car.
One thing that stood out was another university student had also been approached the morning of June the 9th by an unknown individual driving a black four-door vehicle.
But the surveillance footage was not clear enough to read a license plate. Investigators pulled vehicle registration records for the entire county and found 18 four-door Saturn Asteris registered in the Champaign area. They began visiting each owner one by one. One of those owners was Brent Christensen. 2 agents went to his apartment on June 12th. His car was there. He was calm, cooperative, ordinary. When asked what he had been doing the day Yingying disappeared, he said he could not remember. He did not have class, was not working. Maybe he had been sleeping, maybe playing video games. The agents noted that his car had a large sunroof, similar to the one in the footage, but nothing definitive. They moved on to the next name on the list. Then, back at the police station, another officer was reviewing the surveillance footage frame by frame. He enlarged the image and focused on the front left wheel of the car. There was a defect, a crack in the hubcap, the kind of mark you get from hitting a curb.
Special Agent Smith walks up to me and says, I remember there was a large sunroof on Brent Christensen's vehicle. And I look at him and I said, get someone else, go out there, check out that hubcap, send me a picture.
The photo came back. The cracked hubcap was an exact match. On June 15th, the FBI brought Christensen in for a recorded interview. This time, he changed his story.
The apartment. Yep. But it's fair to say that we know that that's not true, correct?
Why would I lie? I mean, I've got her getting into your car. I need to know why. Brent, I need to know why she's getting into your car, and I need to know where she went.
If we can help her, we need to know now, because we need to move on from this.
Christensen gave nothing more. But while he sat in that interview room, agents at his apartment had already obtained permission from his wife to search the residence. They seized computers and a cell phone. The forensic results that came back revealed a side of Christensen no one around him had seen. Search histories of graphic sexual violence, visits to forums with names like Abduction 101, images and chat logs that painted a picture of a man who had been fantasizing about this for a long time. The FBI now faced a critical decision. They had strong suspicion but not enough physical evidence to charge him.
Are you afraid to tell me if you did? I've shared enough with you that you know that I know that you didn't drop her off in that neighborhood.
Where'd you take her, Brent?
If they arrested him, he would lawyer up and they would hit a dead end. If they let him go and watched him, he might lead them to Yingying or to evidence. They released him and placed him under 24/7 surveillance.
We ultimately come to the conclusion that he's more valuable out on the street where we can continuously monitor him than in a jail cell.
Meanwhile, 8,000 miles away, Yingying's father, Rongao, her aunt, and her boyfriend Xiaolen were boarding a plane to the United States. They arrived in Champaign 10 days after Yingying had disappeared. They went straight to the local newspaper, hoping the police had shared something, anything, with the press.
They said, they're not telling us anything. And that's when my heart just broke for them.
The family knew nothing about Christensen, nothing about the FBI investigation. They held a press conference and pleaded with the public for help. Rongao looked into the camera and spoke directly to his daughter. He believed she was alive. Every night after that, even after investigators told him privately what they suspected, Rongao walked to Yingying's apartment and stood outside, waiting for her to come home.
Yingying's family were not aware that the FBI had a main suspect.
The FBI had their suspect, but they had no body, no confession, and no physical evidence linking Christensen to a crime. 3 weeks had passed. Then, on June 29th, Christensen did something no one expected. He texted his girlfriend and asked her to come with him to the memorial vigil for Yingying Zhang.
You have no idea. Nobody knows. Any room or what?
Me. She was belly. She works.
She works. She's tired.
More than anyone else. Tried to choke her. She didn't. I stepped on her back. She died. She was, couldn't believe it. She just didn't die.
His girlfriend agreed to work with us and to wear a wire and record the conversations that she had with Brent. He describes hitting her in the head with a baseball bat, and I'm thinking, we have that bat. And I'm thinking, we need to get back into that apartment. We need to search other areas for evidence.
He told his girlfriend he had hit her with a baseball bat. He bragged that he was a serial killer and called Yingying his 13th victim. He pointed out people in the crowd who matched his description of an ideal victim.
Her breath, she breathed forcefully. She did. I couldn't believe it that she was alive. So I carried her into my bathroom. Got the bat, and I hit her on the head as hard as I could, and it broke her head open.
The next morning, June 30th, the FBI arrested Brent Christensen and charged him with kidnapping. He was brought in for a second interview. This time, agents hoped he would tell them where Yingying was, give her family the one thing they needed most. He refused to say a word. 2 years passed before the case went to trial. When it finally began in June of 2019, the prosecution had built something overwhelming: surveillance footage, forensic evidence from the apartment, the phone records, the online search history, and hours of secretly recorded conversations. The evidence was so strong that the defense did not even try to deny it.
During the defense's opening statements, they admitted that he had killed her.
The trial was not about guilt. It was about whether Brent Christensen would live or die. Prosecutors presented the full scope of what had happened inside that apartment, details the public had never heard. In the courtroom, Yingying's family listened to every word. The prosecution flew to China and filmed a video of every important place in Yingying's life, where she grew up, where she went to school, the people who loved her. They played it for the jury so they could understand the full weight of what had been taken. Throughout it all, Christensen sat motionless.
Was stone cold, emotionless. No expression of remorse. There were a couple occasions where I saw him smile.
On June 24th, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts, kidnapping resulting in death, and 2 counts of making false statements to the FBI. But when the sentencing phase came, the jury could not reach a unanimous decision on the death penalty. Christensen was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He and his attorneys celebrated. After the trial, Christensen revealed through his attorneys, under an immunity agreement, what he had done with Yingying's body. He had placed her remains in 3 garbage bags and dumped them in the dumpster outside his apartment. 3 days later, the dumpster was emptied. The contents were taken to a landfill, compacted twice, and buried under 30 feet of garbage.
And I was sitting very close to her dad, and I just patted my heart and said, I just mouthed, I'm sorry, because we were at this news conference where they were talking about the fact that it would be impossible to find her remains in this landfill.
Yingying Zhang's body has never been found. At the corner of North Goodwin Avenue and West Clark Street, the exact spot where Yingying stepped into that car, there is now a memorial garden, a weeping cherry tree, a stone bench, fresh flowers, and photographs of a young woman with round glasses and a bright smile. Because her remains were never recovered, her family buried a box containing her clothes in the garden. It is the closest thing they have to a grave. Yingying's parents established the Yingying Fund at the University of Illinois, a foundation dedicated to supporting international students in crisis. They donated $30,000 of their own money. More than 440 people contributed alongside them. FBI agent Anthony Manganaro carried one detail with him long after the case was closed: Yingying's journal.
I think about holding her journal and reading on the last page of this beautifully penmanshiped journal the line, life is too short to be ordinary. And just that statement and what I imagine it meant to her.
I didn't want to do any interviews because I was grieving and angry and didn't want to draw attention to myself when, Yingying's family were going through something so terrible. But it is important that people hear this story, that people can learn from this. So I hope that this never happens to anyone again.